everyone, welcome to Extra Credit, and this is episode 6 of our series on ancient Rome. Last time we had talked about this thing called the Gracchus affair and how the Republic was really going downhill in a bad way because politicians, instead of respecting the ancient laws of the Republic, they were treating it more like the Pirates' Code and just doing what they could to get ahead and to advance their own interests and accomplish their own goals, even when those things were good sometimes, like Tiberius Gracchus had some good ideas, but they did it in a way that was downright illegal or unconstitutional. What we're going to see today is that the Republic basically continues in this whole series of crises right up until 44 BC, which is a date that I'm going to talk about a lot when we get there because that's a really big turning point in Roman history. And things are going to have to get really, really bad before they get better. And by get better, I mean Rome transforms from a republic, which is semi-democratic, into an empire, which is not even really remotely democratic. So I don't know if that's actually better or not, but that's where this whole thing is going. So as the Republic continues to fall apart, today we're going to start things off around the year 91 BC with an event called the Social War. Now, this sounds a lot nicer than it actually was. It was not a war that involved people like in cocktail skirts and tuxedos drinking margaritas. No, the Social War was a terrible, bloody, messy, unnecessary war, just like so many wars in history are. And it gets its name from the Latin word soci or soci, or I actually have no idea how to say this word, and this is why I never do the outsiders with my grade 8 class. But anyways, however you say it, this word means allies. And the Social War was a war in which Rome's Italian allies teamed up against Rome because the allies were really angry. The allies all wanted to have Roman citizenship, which, as we saw a few episodes ago, some of them had and some of them didn't. Having Roman citizenship gave them certain rights and privileges, like, for example, voting in Republican elections and holding office in the Republic. Basically, the pathway to power was by having citizenship. Many of these allies, although they had certain privileges, weren't given the full citizenship package. And so they got together and went to war against Rome so that Rome would give them citizenship. So keep in mind, the Social War was not a war of people who hated Rome trying to destroy it. It was people who loved Rome and who used sharp metal objects to show that they loved Rome. Well, after about 2 years of fighting, the Romans finally give up and say, fine, just take citizenship already, we'll give it to you. And the allies were like, seriously? We could have avoided this whole thing? Yeah, that's what I mean when I say it was a really unnecessary war. Not like all the necessary wars in Roman history. So the Social War was the first major crisis in the 1st century BC. The second one followed shortly on its heels, and this one was not a social war, it was a civil war between two Roman generals. One of them was named Marius, and the other guy was named Sulla. Now, as we talked about last time, there were these two political parties in Rome, the Populares and the Optimates. The Populares wanted the common people to get ahead, and of course the Populares also wanted to increase their own power by being loved by the common people. And Marius was the general who represented that side of things. The Optimates, on the other side, were represented by Sulla, and he was an aristocrat who wanted his own wealthy and powerful friends to stay wealthy and powerful. That's pretty much the agenda of the Optimates, as it has been with many rich and powerful people all throughout history. Now, the thing that sparked this whole civil war between Sulla and Marius happened in the year 88 BC, when a king named Mithridates, who ruled in the area of modern-day Turkey, roughly, massacred 80,000 Roman citizens in cold blood. As you can imagine, the Romans were not about to take this lying down at all, and so they got their best guy on the job, and that happened to be Sulla. Sulla was a fantastic military commander, he was a popular general, and the Republic chose him to command the war against Mithridates. This would help Sulla get a whole lot of wealth and power for himself, so he was stoked about this. However, Marius's followers were less happy about this because Marius was also a fantastic general. He had been leading Rome for a long time, and they wanted him to be in charge. And so they basically pulled some political strings and got one of the tribunes, we talked about tribunes last time, to declare Marius the new commander of this war. Well, Sulla and his army took an unprecedented step, quite literally, and they marched into the city of Rome itself with their weapons. This was completely unheard of for a Roman general to march against his own city. When Sulla showed up, he went to go talk to the tribunes, and he was like, hey guys, remember that time you gave me command of the war against Mithridates? Yeah, I'm gonna need that back now. And the tribunes with swords to their necks said, hey, sure, no problem. So Sulla marched off east, dealt with Mithridates, although he didn't actually kill him, because as we all know, it's never dangerous to leave the main bad guy alive. And then Sulla comes back to Rome, and instead of things settling down, things actually get way, way worse. When Sulla marches into Rome the second time, he declares himself dictator. Now we have to pause here a bit. The word dictator has really been ruined for us by guys like this and this and this. But in ancient Rome, dictator didn't necessarily mean someone who was totally evil and just out to get their own way. It was actually an official job of the Roman Republic, where the Senate would choose one guy to be in full command of the government for a short period of time so they could sort out a crisis and then things would go back to normal. Sulla, when he returned to Rome, declared himself to be dictator, which again had some sort of legal foundation for him to do that. But what he did next was awful. Instead of using his power to settle things and solve things to make everybody happy, he posted massive lists of his political enemies, that is Marius's followers, the populares, and let his own men go and hunt them down and take their stuff and kill them. This was called a proscription, and it was as horrific and awful as it sounds. Interestingly enough, there was one aristocrat who was a populare who fled for his life during this time. He was just a really young man. His name was Julius Caesar. And if you don't know much about Roman history, we're going to get back to him in a really big way next time. However, after Sulla had massacred his political enemies, he actually did hang up his sandals in 79 BC, if sandals are something you hang up. I'm not actually sure if they are. He hung up his sword in 79 BC, retired to his villa, and lived the rest of his days in wealth and comfort and happiness, unlike the many, many people whose lives he took. So at this point, the Roman Republic, as we've already seen, was on extremely shaky ground, and at the end of pretty much every episode, I've been saying some kind of ominous foreshadowing thing about what's going to happen next. Well, I promise you, next time we're together, the Roman Republic is actually going to die once and for all. This does not mean that the Roman Empire is going to collapse. Rome still has about 300 years or so of pretty solid success ahead of it at this point. But what's about to happen is Rome is going to transition away from being a republic into an empire ruled by one single guy. And we're going to talk about that next time with a little help from our friend, Caesar. See you then.